Alan, we haven't seen a 4-second pass at Eastern Creek. Tonight should be the night.
Could be the night. Kevin Prendergast. I just love those funny cars and the Wild Bunch. I think they're fantastic, but they're only some of the categories.
That's right, Darryl, but I think you're going to have a great night. The Wild Bunch, we've got 6 of the fastest in the country, 6-second, 200-mile-an-hour action from the Wild Bunch, and top alcohol, we've got 8 of the best in Australia, dragsters, Aldards and funny cars. It'll be a great night's racing from all of the support categories.
Looks good. Let's hope we can get the 4-second run straight into top fuel action.
Yes, indeed, the huge crowd here at Eastern Creek, very enthusiastic, waiting now with no little expectation for the first pairing in the first round of Top Fuel. Nitro-burning supercharged race cars producing 5,000 horsepower. If you haven't seen the Top Fuel cars before, buckle up your seatbelts at home. These race cars provide ground-pounding excitement. And what a pairing we have first up for you. Our own drag racing legend, 13 times national champion, Jim Reed. That is him on screen. In fact, the man that's won in excess of 70 major titles around the country. And Jim Reed now looking at a career that's been spanning almost 3 decades. Okay, Jim Reed, 13 times national champion, fires up the 5,000 horsepower Winfield Racing Top Fuel Dragster, a 300-inch wheelbase. His opponent, Glenn Micros from California, now effecting the burnout procedure. You're looking at the top view from the rear wing of Jim Reed's Winfield entry. A classic confrontation here between the American and the Australian champion.
All set now, the Californian taking on the Australian hero. They've got plenty of mumbo, these things. Wait till you hear the noise. And the whole stand of the roadway will rattle. Building up the revs, the Californian, Glenn Micros. Getting set, coming up to his mark now, taking on Jimmy Reed, the most experienced man in Australia. A lot of pride on the line here. Amazing machines. You can see the engines really working there just on the idle. Wait till they rump them up and you'll see the tyres completely change shape. They stand tall, away they go. Good even start. Micros comes out, Reed comes back at him. I think Micros, I'm sure of it.
Micros a win with a 5.38-second time, 437 kilometres an hour. Jimmy Reed a little bit off the pace, 577 at only 305 mile an hour. Reed's car dropping cylinders as it was going over the top end.
Let's have a look at this action again from the top of Jim Reed's car now. Kevin Prendergast, look at this, something goes wrong now.
Yes, you can see the throttle linkage actually fall off the top half of the fuel injector. Micros just literally drove away because Reed had no throttle after half track.
Great shots, bad luck. Jimmy Reed here at the creek.
Australia's latest national sporting hero, Graham Cowan from Sydney, now fires up the Rocket Industries Top Fuel Dragster, all 5,000 horsepower. He became the first Australian driver into the elusive 4-second barrier. Big burnout from Graham Cowan, lights up the rear wheels, and the crowd really enjoying that one. He turned in a 4.89 at Calder Park Raceway only a few weeks ago, and really has a huge following here at the venue. His opponent, all the way from Minneapolis, Minnesota, that's him on screen, in a race car owned by Jim Reed. I refer to Tom Showtime Hoover, who a fortnight ago here at Eastern Creek recorded the fastest ever top fuel time here, a 5.06 run.
There he is, Hoover, Tom Hoover, the American in the Australian car, out against the new Australian hero that just dropped 4 seconds, under 4 seconds here, first time in this country. Should be a good one, this one. Hoover in one of Reed's cars now, gets ready, still bringing him up, almost on the mark now, all set. As I said, an American and Australian car, and the Australian in the fastest car we've seen in this country. So, good matchup coming your way. All set, there's the Australian, nicely turned out vehicle, away they go. Cowan comes out of the blocks. Hoover got a little bit sideways down, they come on! What about the boom when they came past? Fantastic stuff here. Oh, 2 big runs.
A great win there for Tom Hoover, 5.36 from the American, 404 kilometres per hour. Cowan, a 5.66. A very slow reaction time, but a 5.66 at 293 kilometres an hour. Great win for Tom Hoover.
Okay, the replay now coming your way. You can see there Graham Cowan on the right-hand side of the screen got the whole shot. was leading by a couple of metres as they reached half-track. Then the engine expires. That was probably a clutch or a supercharger. The American drives by on the outside. A great win. A little bit of luck there for him.
Okay, both cars off the start line. They're fairly even, but you can see the flame coming out of the side. They've dropped cylinders. Then just as the car gets to the 1,000-foot mark, big flash of flame. That's a supercharger backfired, very expensive, and the supercharger actually comes off the car. You can see the blower belt goes up in the wing, and then the boom, away it goes, and parts fly off onto the racetrack.
Okay, the Victorian Robin Kirby now moves forward, set for a big smoky burnout. Kirby, one of the most improved top fuel drivers in the nation. It was only a few years ago he was classified almost as the easy beat of this category. Now these days, very much a hard man to beat. His opponent also from Victoria, Charlie DeFilippo. He's been struggling just a little bit in the past few months. Nicely turned out car. Should be a good match between the two Victorians.
All set now, the two Victorians getting set for a blast-off. Away we go. Good even start out of the blocks. Oh, one's gone. Bad luck again. Gee whiz, not having too much success. The big cars here at the creek tonight. Pretty hot conditions. Not sure if that's got anything to do with it. What's the thumbs up? He's happy.
Robin Kirby goes through with a 562. The speed 227 kilometres per hour. Charlie DeFilippo obviously had a problem just cruising down the racetrack, but an excellent win to Robin Kirby.
Next pairing now in the 5,000 horsepower top fuel bracket. Brings together Keith Aegis, that man on screen in the Oz Nitro entry, getting the horsepower to the ground. A good burnout there from Aegis. A Victorian has enjoyed a fair bit of success in this venue. His opponent from Winfield in Sydney is Terry Sainty. A very unique engine on that car. In fact, the only quad-cam engine in national top fuel racing.
Aegis takes on Sainty. New South Wales takes on Victoria, whichever way you want to look at it. Here we go, underway now. Both cars get away well. Well, they started to get out of the blocks pretty well, but one again has broken down, unfortunately. So Aegis goes on to win that one.
Yes, Keith Aegis taking a very comfortable win. A good time for the car, though. A 5.85 at 395 kilometres per hour. That's a personal best in the speed for Keith Aegis. The Sainty quad-cam dragster, though, had a problem and has shut down. Okay, as the car leaves the start line here, they've got a tank that catches the overflow, and actually called the puke tank, and that's what it's done. It's puked all of the oil and fuel out the rear of the car, and then a bang as the blower went, and I'm afraid that's a very damaged unit.
Okay, next car now to effect a solo pass is that being driven by Camden's Wayne Missingham, the Mitre 10 top fuel entry. Nice to see Wayne back contesting the National Series, the Top Fuel Series here at Eastern Creek tonight. Was involved in a horrific crash at this venue about 2 years ago whilst driving the car in his debut at the 1991 Australian Drag Racing Series Grand Finals. The parachute failed to open. He went through the top end at 400 kilometres per hour, ploughing into a bank. Was very lucky to survive. Great to see him back, and he's a guy that's going to make a lot of the experts stand up and take notice in this sport.
Wayne Missingham getting set for his run, solo only. Reaction time here. Away we go. Seem to take a little time to get going there. Got a little bit sideways off the line. Oh, hooks his way down now. Comes past, good run.
A beautiful pass from Wayne Missingham. He waited for a clean green, but he's run a 5.28, a 5.28. That's low ET, I tell you what, congratulations. That's a very, very good run.
At 418 kilometres per hour.
Stay with us here at Eastern Creek. Top alcohol action coming up after the break.
Welcome back to Sydney's Eastern Creek Raceway. Nice to have your company wherever you might be watching. Now the fabulous top alcohol cars coming your way, and we've got the nation's best drivers here tonight. A classic confrontation between funny car and dragster. In this, the first pairing, bringing together the Queenslander Steve Reed in the funny car and that man, Stan Tyndall, in the dragster. Waiting now for Tyndall, New South Welshman, to effect his burnout. I think that Steve Reid, the Queenslander, is entitled to favouritism here. Good burnout, though, from Tyndall, getting plenty of rubber onto the racetrack. But Steve Reid, the Queenslander, very much the comeback king. He's had some dreadful crashes over the past 12 months, but one of the most respected drag races in the country.
Reid against Tyndall. All set, moving up on the mark now. Good confrontation. There's two totally different cars. You saw Tyndall's car really getting the bounce up as he brought it back online. That car there we were talking about. Unusual matchup. Who's the money on? We'll soon see. Tyndall takes on Reid. Waiting, here we go. Lights go out the blocks, both cars. Fantastic stuff. Oh, Tyndall! Tyndall gets a shot. Oh, and makes it go too, Tyndall. What a beauty.
A great win there for Stan Tyndall. A 6.20. That's a great time. 6.20 at 363 kilometres an hour. Stephen Reid, a 6.42 lose at 3.53. But Stan Tyndall, that's almost a personal best on this racetrack. He'd be very, very pleased.
More State of Origin drag racing coming your way. The 2,500 horsepower top alcohol cars. And yet again, we see the confrontation between funny car and dragster. The funny car being driven by Sydney's Mick Baker, a proprietor of his own power transmission workshop in Sydney, and has been rapidly improving over the last few months. In fact, one of his best results actually being achieved at this racetrack about a fortnight ago when he made the finals of the Summer Nationals in the top alcohol category. Nicely turned out Odyssey race car. Has had plenty of experience now, but really coming to terms with his racing activities, spending the right money, getting the right engine combination together. And don't be surprised if Vic Baker performs brilliantly here tonight. The dragster, the driver is John Noonan. He's a Queenslander, one of the nicest looking machines contesting the national drag racing scene. Noonan hasn't started his assault in 1994 the way he would have liked to. Has been very consistent at this track in the past, and will be looking obviously for a big one here as he takes on the Sydney side of Vic Baker.
Vic Baker really blew him out with his burnout. Had the crowd pumped up here. Plenty of tyre smoke floating around still. Pop Dave with a little shoot to let it out of the car. Moving up the stage now, getting set. Pretty explosive when he let it go. Wow, really burnt some rubber. Crowd loved it. Noonan in Top Gun sits beside him. Looks like an unfair matchup, but this could be a ripper. Here we go. Ready to go. Both come out of the blocks pretty well. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, what a great run. Let me tell you, the crowd got up. They loved it. The girls loved it. He loved it. It was a beauty.
What a great race there from Vic Baker. A great win for him. A 6.32, 363 kilometres per hour for the win. The runner-up at 6.67 for John Noonan. He'd be reasonably happy with that with a new car.
Okay, truly international drag racing here at Eastern Creek tonight. The 1994 Winfield Triple Challenge. An all-star cast of the fast. Two dragsters up against one another on this occasion. Gary Phillips, the former national champion, on the right-hand side of your screen. And on the other side of the racetrack, Steve Reid, all the way from the United Kingdom, former European champion, has raced on more continents in the last 18 months than just about any other drag racer in the world. Very fast, very professional. Steve Reid, the Englishman, the reigning national champion, up against the former national champion, Gary Phillips from Queensland. Both cars now reversing side by side back into the staging area. This one is very difficult to try and pick a winner, fairly evenly matched in the performance stakes. Both dragsters that have been sorted out well and truly. The Englishman Steve Reid, Darrell, in the past has actually suffered from what's affectionately termed as tyre shake within drag racing. He gets about halfway up the racetrack and often spins the wheels and smokes them up. He had a lot of trouble with that, but now he's rectified that, and he's a man on a mission.
The Pom pulls that tonight. The crowd will love that. Gary Phillips with the Aussie banana sign on the side of it. So this is the Poms taking on Australia. They love to see this happen in any sport. With a total focus of eyes as they move them up on the line. the Australian car just coming up. Set to go. Visors down. Wait for this one. It's the Pom. Steve Reed taking on Gary Phillips, the Australian. The Pom nearest to camera in the blue and yellow car away. The Australian sending it away. Now the Pom comes back at him. I think the Pom got the cash. Yes, sir. Oh, the Pom got away and held it all away.
Well, what a fabulous run from Stephen Reed there. A huge wheel stand off the start line, but he kept his foot in it. Ran a 6.16. That's low ET so far. An almost perfect reaction time at 4.1. And he went over the top end, 353 kilometres per hour. That was a great race and a good example of what top alcohol is all about.
Here's the action replay now. Watch Steve Reed on the left-hand side of your screen. The front wheels are heading skyward here at Eastern Creek. He was dancing and prancing on the rear wheels. Gary Phillips was coming at him on the line, but the Pommy, he got there in the end with a great drive.
Watch it now as it leaps in the air and gets out of the blocks. Beautiful stuff.
Well, the drag racing action, sensational at Eastern Creek tonight. We now have on screen the Castrol funny car, the Castrol Achiever of Western Australia's Alan Dobson. Was the first top alcohol car to run into the 5-second barrier, and what a big smoky burnout. Around 30,000 people here at Eastern Creek really expressing their delight about that one. Dobson has ended up more than halfway up the racetrack. A fantastic effort there. Alan Dobson became the first top alcohol driver to run into the 5-second barrier. That historic occasion was at the Willowbank Raceway in Queensland whilst competing in the Winter Nationals about midway through last year. He's going to need to be at his very best here tonight because his opponent is Steve Harker from Queensland, one of the heavy hitters in top alcohol.
Thumbs up from Dobson. Tell you what, he's not bad at reverse, bringing it back. He had to bring it back halfway down the racetrack. And was right on line, the Castrol car. Didn't the crowd love his burnout? Just filled the place with tyre smoke. Harker's car, beautifully prepared. Look at the way they turned out these machines. Incredible. Here we go, both out of the blocks, even money this time round. Dobson in the Castrol car. Oh, booms past us. The crowd go up. Gee whiz, what a run from him. Blew Harker off the track. No doubt about that.
Yes, another fabulous run from the Castrol funny car. Goes through for a win with a 6.2-second time, 357 kilometres per hour. Steve Harker obviously had a mechanical problem, shut the car down. He ran a great reaction time with a .47, but in the end it was worth nothing because the car broke.
More from the drag races here at Eastern Creek when we come back.
Racing's wacky wild bunch, the entertainers of this sport, the supercharged Doorslammer sedans. Now coming your way, the HQ Holden you saw on screen a moment ago, the fastest HQ Holden in the world. Not hype, very much a fact. And the man to do battle against the HQ Holden of John Zapia is, of course, that driver on screen, Bert Williamson. Magnificently turned out car, Ford EA, powered by a 540 cubic inch Keith Black engine. A real performer, and this one will go right down to the wire. Just watch the HQ Holden blister the quarter mile here at Eastern Creek. Nice to see the Wild Bunch cars back here tonight. Heads-up start conditions, simply meaning if you haven't seen drag racing before, both of these rocket ships will leave the launching pad simultaneously on the green light.
Here we go, my favourite cars, the Wild Bunch. They're great. John Zapia from West Australia. Doesn't this thing line up? Wow, it got him going. Plenty of huff and puff in this thing. Bert Williamson, ready to take him on. He looked good too when he come out. Both snorting, both raring to go. And we're about to see it happen. Here we go. Zapia leaves the blocks. Gat goes after him. Zapia gets sideways. Almost a touch. Zapia. Oh, what about that? He went this way, that way. Unbelievable run from Zapia. And look where Gat finished. Right up his tailpipe. Oh, boy. The Wild Bunch. They're out to play.
That was one of the most remarkable drag races I have ever seen. Bert Williamson on the left-hand side of your screen, very twitchy out of the starting block. Zappia now skating all over the racetrack, and you can't get much closer together than that. They were separated by absolutely nothing. If I hadn't have been here, I wouldn't have believed it.
Yes, it certainly was. I mean, that's one of the races that you can put down in history. How these guys never touch, I never know. I mean, it is literally millimetres between them. Great driver control on both drivers concerned, but what a race.
And the crowd roar tells the story. Emerging from pit lane is none other than the legendary Victor Bray. You're watching his car there, the 1957 Castrol Chevrolet. This guy is without question one of the most popular drag racers in the country and world famous for his big smoky burnouts. He'll effect a burnout here that will probably run the length of the straight here at Eastern Creek. Bray gets the foot into the bucket, plenty of horsepower there. He keeps it going. He keeps it going up the main straight here, up the quarter mile at Eastern Creek. And the audio, the crowd going berserk. They love this guy. And the place resembles an Indian scouting party at the moment. There's smoke signals and they're going everywhere. Reversing back now with Victor Bray. I was just about to say that Victor Bray has a tough opponent here, none other than Ben Gatt, former national champion, who hails from Sydney. So once again, Darrell Eastlake, state of origin drag racing, two beautifully turned out cars, the Chevrolet driven by the Queenslander Victor Bray, and that brand spanking new Ford Falcon of Ben Gatt from Sydney.
Well, it's almost the GMH and Ford battle again, isn't it? Gatt, Ford bound, and of course my favourite Chevy, to 57 model Chevy, Victor Bray's car. But what about the way he lit the place up? I mean, the crowd here, they were stopping for more, and they're going to get it in a second. Ben Gatt, two big champs here, two heavyweights coming on the line. The 57 Chevy, the beautifully prepared Ford. That's the shot too, on top of Victor Bray's Chevy. So you'll ride with him. We'll see that in the replay as they come up the stage now. Victor Bray, doesn't he just entertain the crowd? And Gatt, he'll want to steal his thunder tonight. He knows the crowd's right in behind Bray. And Gatt will get the Ford off the line as quick as he can. This will be a beauty. Away they go. Bray, that's Gatt. Look at Bray. Bray coming home. Yay, yay, yay. One big one for Bray. Oh boy, the Chevy, it's on fire tonight. Goes down the quarter miler in big style. Victor Bray and the 57 Chevy. He's a legend.
Victor Bray certainly is. A 7:21. That's an excellent time for Victor. 316 kilometres an hour. Ben Gatt, on the other hand, ran a 9:16. He had a red light. He was automatic lose, but there was no stopping Victor Bray. He just powered through for the win.
Okay, let's ride now with the winner of that one, Victor Bray. As Kevin Prendergast said, his opponent, Benny Gatt, red lighted. And all Victor Bray needed to do was get to the other end of the racetrack to take the win, but always the showman, Bray. He got the horsepower to the ground, and just listen to this big Chevy. Next pairing now on the racetrack for the Wacky Wild Bunch. Les Winter, Darrell Eastlake's favourite car. The Chevrolet all the way from Queensland. One of the real performers is Les Winter. His opponent, John Payne, also from Queensland. Reversing back side by side on the left-hand side of your screen, John Payne has performed very well over the last 6 months, particularly well in the recent State of Origin drag racing series, the Corvette entry, and just look at that race car. Darrell, you've got a smile on your face like a carpet snake in a foul house.
I love it, I love it. It's a 55 Chevy. I call it the fridge. It's big, it's square, and it's white. But can it motor?
Let's hope it's not defrosted for your sake.
All set. Johnny Payne looks good, turned out too in the Corvette. So once again, Chevy power goes here. This one's a 55. Who wants the fridge go? Watch the fridge go. It's a ripper. Payne comes up now. This will be another magic run. Here we go. Oh, what about the fridge? It got airborne as it took off. Payne's going to get the money, though. The fridge comes back through Winter. Can't get it. He went up in the air, the fridge, when he came off the line. But Payne just got the power down and honked him. He wiped him tonight.
Another great race from the Wild Bunch. John Payne, there was no stopping him. 7-1-2 in the ET. A fairly straight run for that car. Les Winter a little bit all over the track off the start line. He takes a 7:26 lose at 302 kilometres per hour.
Drag racing action at its very best. Eastern Creek, stay with us.
Eastern Creek Raceway, the Top Fuel cars make their way back to the drag strip. The horsepower set to unleash one more time. Tom Showtime Hoover from Minneapolis in Minnesota has made a successful transition from funny car to Top Fuel drag racing, that's for sure. Oh, look at the burnouts from both of them, very spectacular. Hoover's opponent will be Robin Kirby from Victoria, one of the most improved drag racers in the country, and a guy certainly capable of an upset here. Waiting now for the two Top Fuel cars to reverse back down to the staging area. You're looking at Robin Kirby, the Nitro Flames now standing out on that machine. Hails from Kangaroo Flats in Victoria. Robin Kirby, a personal best at this racetrack of a 5.50 run, whilst on the other hand, Tom Hoover at the Summer Nationals just a few weeks ago at this racetrack recorded a blistering 5.06. So on that score and that score alone, I guess the American is entitled to favoritism. He's already posted a fine win here tonight. That was in the first round against Sydney's Graham Cowan. And this one should be a cracker.
This is what the crowd have come to see. And they're bolted to the seats, I'm telling you. They're all over the rails here. They really love these monsters. They make the noise. The attitude of the cars, the way they just leap into the air off the blocks. The American Tom Hoover against Robin Kirby from Victoria. There's Kirby. Both machines immaculate the way they're turned out here. So the mechanics is having a final look. As we've said, they are developed to the nth degree. You cannot develop an engine any more than these. Boy, oh boy, when they let them go, anything can happen, and it has tonight. Eastern Creek coming alive, big crowd, huge crowd here. Beautiful night, perfect conditions to race. And away we go, both out of the box well. Hoover goes, he's left it, Hoover's motor's gone out. Oh, the engine, the fire died on the American Hoover. Robin Kirby blasted his way over the line. The Victorian will take it. Bad luck for Hoover. The lights went out for him.
Yes, they certainly did, Darryl. The win of 5-7-1 of Robin Kirby. A great wheel stand off the start line by Tom Hoover. Great reaction, but obvious engine problem. The engine shut down. Kirby, in the meantime, got very close to the centre line, but he went right through for a great win.
Looking at it one more time, Robin Kirby getting the front wheels up on the off the ground. He went very close, as Kevin said, to crossing the centre line. Hoover stopping now, and Kirby really very consistent. We've seen this happen from him before, and down he goes.
Set again now. You watch the American car, the red car of Hoover. Watch him come down now. Now watch the top right-hand corner of your screen. Carefully now when it goes, and whooshka, there it goes, the rockets. Ha-ha, fired them up in the air. Plenty of height there from the rockets.
A big burnout from the Californian, Glenn Micros, who in the United States is one of the most respected funny car drivers in the business. Jim Reed, 13 times national champion, lights up the back tyres on the Winfield Racing Valvoline dragster. A great confrontation here between two of the world's best. Jim Reed has a personal best at this racetrack of a 5.14. He'll be looking to go better here now. The headwind these cars were running against in the first outing tonight has now died down. The air temperature is almost perfect. They don't like humidity, these nitro burning cars. And this is a pairing we've become accustomed to seeing in drag racing at the highest level. Glenn Micros, one of the top gun American racers, up against the most respected drag racer in Australian history, Jim Reed. Well, Darryl, Glenn Micris, the American, was able to post a victory on Jim Reed earlier tonight. Reed will obviously be looking to make amends here in front of his home crowd, and they are going to be riding in that cockpit with him.
No doubt about that. You look at Reed, he had his mechanical problems first time round, the flames belching out as the sun has gone down now and the night lights have taken over here at Eastern Creek. You really see these things right they are. They're big, hairy beasts. They're powerful. They spit out flame and they go really, really quick. So Reed, mechanical problems with Micris first time round. Beautiful evening here. Big, big crowd in attendance. And this will be the matchup, or one of them they've waited for. Reed just couldn't get it together first time round, and the Californian just stripped him. Get ready for it this time. Here we go. Reed a lot quicker this time, though. Reed, the Australian. Oh, he's done it again. A big blow up from Reed. Oh, it just lit up. There was a fireball. An absolute fireball. There's the crew, the crowd. Have a look at this. It's still on fire for Reed. Coming down, and that is a lot of money and a very scary moment for Jim Reed. He's been through it before, but you'd never get used to that.
He wants out of the race car, and an unexpected on-board barbecue there for Jim Reed. He got the business done. A total engine detonation right on the line.
Reed is out. Look at the crowd, though. The crowd just wants that. He says, I'm okay. He wants to get the fire out. He's calling to the marshals. Get there and put this thing out. Oh, boy, he's been on the fastest fire yet we've seen in a long time. Jim Reed, what a moment for him. Kevin, you never get used to that.
No, you certainly don't. That's the scariest thing. Now, let's take a look at this off the start line. Both of the cars left perfectly. Reed ahead by a good car length. A great run, and just as they got to the light, have a look at that fireball. That is very expensive and, of course, very dangerous. In that sort of circumstances, you can actually burn the tyres off the car. Looking at it again, perfect runs all the way down. Take a look at that. Very dangerous. You can, as I say, deflate the car and actually burn the tyres off. He's lucky the chute stayed intact and the times, both 5:20, but Jimmy Reed, very dangerous and very spectacular.
Okay, another look at this remarkable incident at Eastern Creek Raceway. Reed got the whole shot. Brilliant reaction time right at the top of the quarter mile. Bang! Up she goes. It looked like Darling Harbour on New Year's Eve. The fireworks were flying. Jim Reed has escaped one of the worst incidents you'd ever hope to see or wouldn't want to see in top fuel racing.
Well, you can talk about all of the expense about this, but what about the danger? What about the guts of these guys to sit on such a volatile piece of equipment? Look at that flame. The crowd just didn't know what had happened, and Reed showed so much courage to get there to the end. Jim Reed really on fire tonight in more ways than one. Milton 80 at the end of the strip talking to the man himself.
Jim, you're always happy when you win, but I guess that's the way racing is. Anybody pulls up with a dragster on fire, dripping oil, looking
something
for
else.
The fire, and it
something else, though. Every time I race Glenn Micris, something goes wrong.
But you beat him.
Well, there you go.
Let me tell you,
she was trucking. That sucker was trucking. It threw oil under the wheel. It was heading for the wall.
Next pairing in this round of Top Fuel. The crowd here at Eastern Creek, well and truly alive. A psychedelic mass of colour, the racetrack. Melbourne's Keith Aegis in the Oz Nitro entry makes his way into the burnout area. His opponent will be Sydney Sider, Graham Cowan, the 4-second man. Pretty mediocre burnout from Keith Aegis. A big burnout is not necessarily good. It's up to the driver's own beliefs as to exactly what he wants to do, depending on the combination he's dialed in with the clutch, for example. We've been talking about the volatile nature of these race cars throughout the evening. Certainly the supercharger and the clutch are the two areas most vulnerable to detonation. It often occurs at the top end of the racetrack. Keith Aegis' biggest win here at Eastern Creek Raceway was the very important Nitro Championships meeting last year. He's capable of doing it. Graham Cowan, he was the first man to run into the 4-second barrier. Conditions here at Eastern Creek are pretty good now. It's not impossible that the Rocket Industries car, the yellow one over on the other side of the racetrack, could deliver us the first ever 4-second pass here at Eastern Creek.
Yeah, that 4-second pass, gee, an elusive target, but an immaculate run needed. But as you've said, conditions are pretty good.
Yeah, they were facing a fairly hefty headwind at the start of racing tonight. That has now died down. Air temperature pretty good. Cowan removes the glasses.
Bit late to be cleaning the specs, I would think.
One of the very good things about drag racing, Darryl, is the way the drivers get their family involved. This is really a family sport in every sense of the word. And Graham Cowan has an absolute cast of thousands down there behind him. Both of his sons, they're all part of the action. And it was very emotional down at Calder when he ran the 4-second pass, I can assure you.
Let me tell you, you want a brother or a father that was a banker, wouldn't you?
Budget not a problem for Graham Cowan.
Okay, lined up. Aegis in the beautifully turned out black and pink machine. Cowan in the yellow machine. 4 seconds at Calder. Can he do it here in Sydney? Can he do it? The crowd have waited, and gee whiz, they've been terrific tonight in their thousands. As we said, perfect night here at Eastern Creek. Packed to the rafters and plenty of drama trackside. Ready to fire up. Here we go. Away they go. Aegis gets away. Cowan. Oh, the fire died. No 4 seconds tonight. Aegis though went on with it. He's done his run. Oh, it might be a 44-second run tonight.
Yes, Graham Cowan there. It smoked the tyres immediately off the start line. The car didn't even move. It just burst into tyre smoke, almost like a burnout. In the meantime, Keith Aegis cruises through for a 585 at 380 kilometres per hour. But that's it. There certainly won't be a 4-second run from the Cowan machine tonight.
Replay here. Watch for Graham Cowan on the green light. Overpowers the track. Too much horsepower. They may have been looking for the 4-second run on that occasion, and Cowan just stayed there wheel spinning. In the meantime, it's the Victorian that blasted through.
Yes, if you look at it closely, the car actually just starts to move forward and then immediately into tyre smoke. That comes because you've obviously got a lot of horsepower there, but the clutch combination was wrong, and that was the result. Too much horsepower to the back wheels immediately.
Okay, final Top Fuel run coming your way in the 1994 Winfield Triple Challenge from Sydney's Eastern Creek Raceway. And the Californian Glenn Micros is the man that's going to finish the program off with a solo pass. Obviously, he has had lane choice on this occasion, believes that the left-hand side of the racetrack is going to provide him with his best chance of turning in a sensational time. If we're going to try and get into the 4-second barrier for the first time at Eastern Creek in real terms, this is the last opportunity tonight. Micros has got the car dialed in very nicely. Hails from California, and it won't bother him one iota, the fact that he's on his own out there. He's a totally focused racer, very professional, very serious about it all, and he'll know, Darryl Eastlake, exactly what it's going to take to do it.
No doubt about it. He'll be pretty pumped up too last run of the night, but I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everybody connected with the Winfield Triple Challenge, Australia's motorsport spectacular. It's been a great day. The tourers were fantastic. The production bikes, the super bikes, it really has been. Into Sydney, thank you for turning out in your thousands. We've had a big crowd here. It's been a tremendous day's action. Here we go, the final run of the night. Glenn Micros from California. He's trying desperately to do what the Victorians have done down there. They've had a 4-second run. We want to see it here. Last chance. Set to go, there we go. Micros lights it up. Oh, there we come. Looks pretty good at this stage. Oh, the fire went out. The lights went out for Micros. But let's have a look at the time.
A 5:21, 5:21 at 403 kilometres per hour. That's consistent with his earlier times. A great run, but certainly not enough in there to go anywhere near the 4s.
Well, Glenn Micros, it's all in one piece, and you ran a 5:21, which is low ET to the meter. Guess the money's all yours.
Well, thank you very much. I think we ran a little quicker through the blower belt by probably 1,100 feet. It just hit the head to dash. We figured we could run probably 15 or so anyway, give people a show. I mean, that's what people came to see, and we figured we'd give them what we could.
Don't think you let them down.
Thanks very much.
Congratulations, Glenn Micros.
Thanks.
A very happy Glenn Micros and a very happy crew as Glenn did take the money in the Top Fuel category with a time of 5.228 seconds. Other winners tonight, Steve Reed in the top alcohol, while it was Queensland's John Payne who edged out Victor Bray in the Chevy. Don't believe it. That's the Wild Bunch category. And as the sky lights up, I hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the 1994 Winfield Triple Challenge. I look forward to your company again, but until then, it's goodbye from Nine's Wide World of Sports.